Salama, Siemi, Shalom, Shalom family. So, greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world. Whether you are under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach, known as Jesus, you're grafted in, or you are in the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, under the house of Israel. So, family, I'd like to first start off, when we talk about bloodline and being grafted in, yeah, there is a difference. There is a difference. Biblically, there is a difference. And the reason I say that there is a difference biblically, because if you've noticed what's going on here, there's a fight. And we're in the fight. Personally, we all have our own fight that we're doing, whether a physical one or a spiritual one. There's a fight. And usually, you don't even understand you're in the fight until it meets you at your doorstep. So before I get started, Equinox Walker, Charles West, Arrow Spike, Shalom, Salama, Elsie the Prodigal Son, Anita Williams, Todd McCann, Gloria Knight, Chantel Smith, Brother G, Gabrielle Aluya, Sandman J, Yana Sampson, Shauna Leonard, Coco G, Kenneth Wilkerson, Faithful Sister in Yah, Shauna Shade, James Knowing, Contending for the Faith, Ripley Smith, Ricky McClooney, Mattiyahu, Ben Israel, Donna Hall, Kimbler J, Candace Loves, Sharonda Rivera, Blessed and Healthy the Disciple Way, Marilyn Lamar, Therese Reed, Soulfully Sowing Seeds, Ninja Firewolf, Brew Queen Israel, JSBS, Jeremy Jones, Priscilla Sharp, Pensy Lolo, TTHI, bless Mr. Spacely. And you want to ask where my Uncle Ruckus is, Mr. Spacely. I bring Uncle Ruckus up a few times. I don't bring him up that often. Exit Stage West Exodus, Yerrick Miel, Shalom. Because here's the thing. Let's just face this reality. You can hear yourself and Uncle Ruckus just plain in a plain non Uncle Ruckus, vernacular on other channels. Now I'll bring him up in the course of a joke. I'll bring him up in jesting. Quentin Miller, Shalom. So I wanted to kind of dig in on this. And listen, my Uncle Ruckus is just a characterized voice. You hear Uncle Ruckus's without the voice. All I would do is just refer you to the UA community, okay? Malin Arizari, Shalom. Oh man. So I'm gonna tell you this, family. So shout out to Phil from the Advise Network, or now the African diaspora channel. And, he brought that to light, like what we were talking about between China and America. And let me tell you, you can see how things are shaping up prophetically because, see, we told you that there's a lot that's going on that prophetically, Rahama Ace Salama, we see a lot that's happening prophetically. But see, for the rest of the world, when they see something like this occurring, when they see something like this happening, for them it's very disheartening because you got to remember, see, for them, they want to get back to business as usual, right? Hey, let me tell you, you get the lollipop, business as usual. You get it opened up, business as usual. And you have to understand, see, you start to realize that when the word states, the plagues and the pestilence and things of that nature, there's things that's going on. And you also realize that what the word states of Jeremiah 50 and 51, when you realize that, you start to understand that there is a self-inflicted wound that Babylon does to itself. And see, we didn't see, you have to understand this. You remember, in their rush to try to get back to normal, they didn't understand. And now a lot of people do. A lot of folks have done that. Well, something's going on here. Something's wrong here. And then you hear these other folks and they talk about this craziness, watching and waiting, shalom. Hey, don't worry about what's inside the lollipop, just put it in your arm. And that's, very circumspect to the thought process of, you don't want to just put anything in your arm or in your body. Nicole 1 and Sister Nitz and more. Shalom. Second Exodus, Shalom, and Mo Valley, Yahuwah, Yahudah, Shalom. And that's where, a lot of us, you had the campaign, back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? Say no to drugs, Dare and everything else. And yeah, you're right. Second Exodus, yeah, my body, my choice, all those different things that were going on. Tommy D. Collins, Shalom. You had all these different campaigns, right? Man of Yah, Shalom. Dre Lee, Shalom. Yeah, and then in those campaigns would tell you, hey, listen, it's not cool to just do whatever you want to do to your body, right? You don't have that YOLO, you only live once effect, because there's going to be other symptoms that you're going to have to start dealing with later in life. Yolanda Howard and Miss B, Shalom. Humphrey Abogier, Shalom. And so that's where we're starting to understand. That's where we're starting to understand that when we're seeing these things happen, we're understanding that this is the work of the Most High. And, I'm just going to tell you, even with me personally, there is always a spiritual fight, and then there's really a physical fight that's attached. But that physical fight is nothing like that spiritual fight. So, in the midst of what I'm going through right now, it is a spiritual fight. Now it's a physical, but it's still a spiritual, because you still see the physical um, shell or screen or picture, but you don't understand the spiritual things that's going on. It's just like when we're watching TV, okay? You see the graphics and the pixels that provide the picture, but you don't understand all of the electronic workings in the background that's giving you that picture. How the fiber optic cables, how the coaxial cables, how the HDMI and things that nature is linking, that picture projection from the studio or the channel or the cable provider. There's a lot more that's in there than just seeing the picture when you click on the channel and you're changing the channel. Are you serious, contending for the faith? Oh man. Yeah, they're trying to get us hard, because you got to remember what we had said, the curses of Balaam. That's Numbers 13. That's Numbers 13 right here. Because here's the thing. In this, remember, the only ones that can stop Israel, and really the only ones that can stop Judah, is Judah itself. That's it. The only ones that can stop Israel and Judah is Judah itself. Because, see, when you look at Numbers 24, Numbers 24 shows you that God continued to bless Israel. And God even said this to Israel. You got to remember, the Most High was not playing when he tells and speaks of his word. And here's the thing. This is something that we have to really understand for this. God's words foretell everything that's going to happen and everything that we're going to go through. We're going through it, family. Remember, think about this. Q Miller 100. Shalom. Think about this. 2 years ago, would we ever be looking at this? Joy 31608. Shalom. We never would have seen this 2-3 years ago. A lot of us weren't awakened at that time. Vanessa Landis, shalom. Even when you're awakened, I was awakened at that time in 2019, and I could see all the things sputtering and out of control in the Middle East, and see a lot of the world events, and see, you had to understand, see, what was going on was that the economy wasn't very strong. It was just faulty. It was just a lot of the borrowing was going on. LNF and Mr. The Original Shalom, the original school Shalom. So we were looking at, oh, this economy is so great. Everything is so great. James Smith, Shalom. Everything was so great, right? But then you could see that no, it wasn't, because the manufacturing sectors and all these different things were starting to sputter out of control. And it was up to different things that were occurring. Like, you wouldn't have direct investment from the government into the stock market. That didn't they knew what was happening in 2019 because it was happening clear in 2008, but they didn't want to say that was the government doing it. They just want to say, well, it's called qualitative easing and quantitative easing and all these different, phrases to make it seem like that wasn't the reality, but it was. And all that was investors would get money courtesy of the government, courtesy of taxpayer dollars. Cam two players, Shalom. And then that money would be reinvested into the stock market. So it wouldn't allow the stock market to basically crash. And remember, a lot of people were complaining at the time. Arad Iyar Yasharala Shalom. A lot of people were complaining at that time. Wait, you're not going to allow these businesses to crash because the government's backing these businesses. And remember, they kept complaining. Ms. Darial, thank you for the sticker. Hallelujah. Okay, I'm good. Anayah Shalom. And they kept complaining that, well, that's communism. This is communism. And they would complain about that with the free markets, and they wanted to make sure that everything in the free markets had the the mechanisms were at play, because if your business failed, then guess what? It allowed for other businesses to be more creative and then fill in. Non-revisionist, shalom. But we saw that in 2020, that was the culmination of the failures because remember, if you didn't notice, Trump had said this. He said, we have one of the greatest economies in the world. And you understand that, and he was trying to say not just the world, he was trying to say in history. And then you really understood, no, it wasn't. It was actually one of the worst because all that was just borrowing. And now what you're seeing is that the person that they borrowed from, that's on the other side of the table in Alaska, Yakanam Bell, Shalom. They're trying to say, listen, we want our money back. And if we don't get our money back, we're attacking you and we're going to get our money one way or the next. Because here's the thing, you want to talk to us about things, we're going to expose it right to your face. Because here's the thing, compared to China's tit for tat, America doesn't hold a candle. Or, America has nothing to stand on. It really doesn't. It has nothing to stand on. Timothy Prince Salama. And when people are in the comments, well, what about China? What about this? It's like this. Listen, the Boxer Rebellion really is the Boxer Rebellion set China off in its motion. And that was it was about 100 years ago. It was about 100 years ago. We've had the same systemic formulation of oppression in this captivity for 400 years. J. Paul, Shalom. Now, do we all get trinkets in this? Yes. That's how that goes. Not everybody was getting beat like, all the antebellum slave movies. Not everybody was doing that. Because why? Man, look, Big John got beat because Big John was just talking all that mess. Don't we understand that? Well, you're a criminal. Don't we understand that? Remember, that's what was the wordplay, and our wordplay just changed. The system didn't. That was it. The system did it. The wordplay changed, but the system didn't. So now that we've understood, oh man, this was the evolution in the system, and now the system's kind of hit that terminal velocity. It all came to an end. It all came to a head. And that was literally last year, because in 2019, we kept saying, look, you want to celebrate this year of return. You don't know what you're celebrating. You don't know what you're worshiping when you're trying to say, we're going to do a symbolic kneel at the in Ghana, or wearing your kente cloth and everything else. You don't understand what that means. Beep beep, get out the way. Shalom, shalom. And we were explaining to him, look, there's a lot more to that. There's a lot more. There is a lot more. I know that they're trying to, do what they can to kind of wiggle their way on out. But listen, the Most High had already given them the warning. This is why they stay away from the Old Testament, because the warning is there and it's still moving. Susan Gibney, shalom. And so I wanted to kind of bring this on up. This is Numbers 24. And I'm going to start at verse 15. And he took up his parable and said, Balaam, the son of Beor, hath said, the man whose eyes are open hath said, he hath said, which heard the words of God and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. So see, Balaam was not an Israelite. Balaam was not a Shemite. If you actually read everything, Balaam, I believe, you get it from out of Jasher, and I believe Balaam was actually a Hamite, if I'm not mistaken. But Balaam had something special. He was actually able to entreat the Most High. Dale J, shalom. Angie Love Yah, shalom. Thank you for the gift. Yeah, Melinda, 1973. That's we have to just prayer. Prayer. Real Morgan, shalom. Yeah. Chantel Smith, thank you for the super sticker. Hallelujah. Yeah, exactly. Hebrew Queen Israel, Brew Queen Israel. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. He was afforded the opportunity to do witchcraft, but then his usefulness was up, because you got to remember, if Israel is down, wickedness is up. Do you hear what I'm saying? If Israel is down, wickedness is up. And we've seen how that pendulum swings in this dispensation. See, what it was I want to make it look like there was no wickedness. So we just said it to everybody, there's no wickedness. The problem is the Most High was already telling us there's wickedness. You're in darkness. This is your 3 days of darkness. You're sitting in it. This is your 3 days of death. You're sitting in it. You have been sitting in death and you have been sitting in darkness for these 3 days, and you haven't even understood that you're sitting in it. Shellen Robinson, shalom. See, I had always come to this notion, this realization, we have been in darkness. This awakening isn't really an awakening. This awakening is we're looking at light, and the Most High is shining his light on us, because you want to know why? We have been in a comatose state And you want to know what started to happen as we were the patient in the bed, in the coma. We started to have some hand movements. We started to, respond to our name, right? Right? Mr. Copeland, can you hear me? Mr. Copeland, if you hear what I'm saying, twitch your finger, and then you twitch your finger, and you're still sub unconscious demeanor, but it's enough to understand that the brain activity has now been turned back on, and it's not a physical; it's a spiritual brain activity. And then as that spiritual brain activity starts to turn back on, the Most High is bringing on out the little flashlight, and he's shining in our eyes to seeing if our pupils are dilating, to see if there's a cognitive response. And then as that cognitive response starts to manifest, because now you can start to move a little bit, now you can start to respond in a better manner. But the Most High, instead of just feeling and grasping, can you feel this? Do you feel the touch in your legs? Can you feel the touch on the knees? Is a sensory? We know that the sensory responses are good. So now let's ensure that everything else starts to come in. Can you breathe on your own? Can I take the where's my medical folks on that? The incubator. Isn't it incubator? It's an incubation tube. Let's take the incubation tube on out. Let's see if you can breathe on your own. Okay. We'll just put the little the things in your nose, just to keep the oxygen going. Because you still need a little bit more to breathe. You're not intubation there. Thank you, Watson Waiting. Shalom, Romeo Solatelli. And so this is where we're at in this process. This process is we are waking up as a people. We have a little bit of brain activity functioning. That's it. You know what you all are? You all are the brain activity. Okay. We have a little bit of the jerk, the twitching and jerks. You know what that is? When we start to come together, when we realize that we're getting shot and killed. Oh, let's twitch a little bit. Let's jerk a little bit. Do you feel that? Israel, do you feel that? Oh. And so that's where we have seen that in this time frame, the only thing that they want us to do is to not talk, because the moment that we're talking, the moment that we can start crying out for help. And I want you to follow along with me. This is Numbers 24:17. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Sheth. And Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies. And Israel shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth of the city. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. And he looked at the Kenites and took up his parable and said, strong is thy dwelling place, and thou puttest thy nest in a rock. Nevertheless, the Kenite shall be wasted until Asher carry thee away captive. And he took up his parable and said, Alas, who shall live when God doeth this? And the ship shall come from the coast of Edom, and shall afflict Asher, and shall afflict Eber, and he also shall perish forever. And Balaam rose up and went and returned to his place, and Balak also went his way. And let me just kind of tell you this. You see in verse 25, really, in my opinion, Thomas Daniel, Shalom, Elephant Man Network podcast, Shalom, Siemi. And see, shout out to Rawls, Red Letter Rap, yeah. When he's reading the book of Jasher, because the book of Jasher is it's very poignant to the fact that you fill in a lot of the information, the key information that's missing. Mike Phillips, Shalom. See, at that time, look, God had even said, look, he sees him, but he doesn't. Do you even understand this? God was even showing Israel, look, you're just getting a full glimpse. You're not getting a full glimpse. You're never getting a full glimpse. The full glimpse is when you have been forged through the fire. I mean, that means you are gone. You have gone through it all. You have been destroyed. You have been buried. You have been crushed under the rock. And now you're going to be the diamond that's in the scepter. You don't have a scepter that's just gold. You have a scepter that has a rock on it. And that rock epitomizes power. There's a jewel on it that epitomizes a power. See, the Most High is that power, but he also has us as his people. That was the power. Remember the Urim and the Purim, the Uman and Thummim. Those structures, the breastplate for the priest. That breastplate was showing, look, this was the lines, this is the authority, because these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and you're carrying the authority of the 12 tribes of Israel. The Most High always has a structure in place. And so let me just kind of tell you, because between Numbers 24 and Numbers 25, you have to get into Jasher. And I want you all to really read Jasher, especially on your own, so you could start to really understand the context of this. Balak just didn't go away and said, oh, game over. Balak also had instruction from Balaam. This is why God had Balaam killed. He said, look, all right, the Most High said this, but let me just kind of tell you what you need to do. Since you can't have them kill themselves, since you can't kill them, since you cannot physically just round them up, because the moment that you round them up, what do sheep do? They start to bleat, right? They start to talk. Sheep are actually they're very loud as animals. When you have them together, they're very loud. If you hear them bleating and doing all the other stuff, they are very loud. And see, the thing is, Rio, I believe it like this. Balaam knew, look, if you can't beat them, you just don't join them, but you also ensure that they decay or rot from the inside. You're rotting from the inside. And yeah, Balaam did stay switching teams. And so when you understand that, this is what Balaam. So Balaam told this to him, and this is Numbers 25. I wanted to give you some context. This is, that's the Jasher context. But it says here, and Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab, and they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods, and the people did eat and bowed down to their gods. And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor. The anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. Come on, family. Am I seeing the only one? Am I the only one seeing this? Am I the only one seeing this? In order for Israel to go down, Israel has always had to follow other gods. Israel has always had to follow other gods. And I'm going to tell you this. Let me go back here. I'm going to go back to Jeremiah 51. The sad thing for us as Israel, those other gods don't have to just be heavenly. They're not celestial. In our context, those gods are usually lowercase g's. We replace our uppercase G, our heavenly Elohim, for something that is inferior. And oftentimes they'll try to even have their own man made God. And that God is usually could be even a man or a woman or some sort of idol that they place as a God that they worship. See, sometimes we worship things and we don't even realize we're giving that thing authority. And you see that. See, sometimes they worship an image, and that image doesn't give them anything other than an emotional escape. This is why the Most High said, look, don't let your emotions ever get the best of you. Because why? Because you'll be powerless to them. He had to say this to Cain. And do you understand? Now we're seeing in this day and age that the emotions have gotten the best of them. We're starting to come out and we're starting to analyze, and we're becoming less emotional and more analytical. And we're analyzing it based off of the scriptures. Shellen Robertson, shalom. Trying to get y'all as you come on in here. We're going to pray for you, Shellen. We're going to pray for you. And so you got to remember, here in America, what do? We idolize everything. Everything is idolized. Man, they were idolizing Back the Blue up until you saw these folks trying to storm the Capitol. How in one day did they go from idolizing the military to, we can't trust the military? All in one day. Shalom, Crystal Smith. But we have to understand, in this time, we're seeing some things that we didn't think was ever going to be present. But I'm going to read from you Jeremiah 51, verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. And will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Okay, I never really understood this. Jeremiah 51 and 2. Honestly, I didn't understand this until really last week. Because that's how the Most High does it. The Most High shows you things in his season. Feeds the Hebrew charmers. And maybe he's just showing this to me. I told you, family, look, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, look, pray about it. Ask the Holy Spirit to reveal it to you. Alberta Henderson, shalom. Because I'll tell you, I don't say what I say is always correct. I don't. But what I do, I read the word, and then what I do when I read the word, I put it into context. Because why? Because in this time frame, there is a context for everything. We just don't know what that context is yet because it may not be revealed yet. There's still things that the Most High is doing during this time frame. Verse 3, against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his arrow, and against him that lifteth up himself up in his brigadine, and spare ye not her young men. Destroy ye utterly all her hosts. Okay, so this is what I didn't quite really understand this until I saw what happened last week. See, there is a process now that's going on last week. You had the summit, and then when you had the summit, you had the man target the Asian community. I haven't heard anything if he was going to be charged with a hate crime or anything else. But all you heard was, well, hey, he had a bad day. Rev Shane 777, shalom. Tommy D. Collins, shalom. Rochelle Yah's daughter, shalom. Shalom, family. And see, all we heard, well, he had a bad day. They tried to really justify the killings because here's the thing, that works for us. it doesn't work for them. Because you want to know why? They know who they are. They Shali Hilaire Shalom. And see, you had to understand, listen, not only that, they were coming on January 6th. And they were showing the nation and the world what they really thought about things. And so this is what you're seeing. This is what the Most High is stirring up. What is he stirring up? He's stirring stirring up hate and division amongst them. And remember, when you see all this stuff, there's supposed to be a CNN town hall of, stand against the hate. And then that quickly shifted because of some more division going through. They didn't even get a chance to do a little town hall. But what it does show is, look, that all the stuff that was there, and this is what they had said, listen, it was the politics that was pushing the hate towards the Asians, and guess what? That it accomplished its purpose. But what they didn't understand is that was the Most High doing that. Because there's more to this than that meets the eye. And when we try to have it with the spirit or with a physical understanding, we get lost. But when we now understand the spiritual context, now I see the picture. And now the picture is getting colored through. And so you have to understand, listen, you're not looking at the apparatus of. Okay, so you have Babylonians, right? But the Chaldeans are the ones who do what? They affirm the context, they affirm the power of Babylon. They may not be Babylonians themselves, but they are the physical structures, people structures that affirm the power of the system. What do you have with the system? The system can only be in place if it does what? If it has people that affirm the system. And now you have people that have affirmed the system, and now the Babylonians are being stirred up within the system. So now everybody that saw and was reaffirming the system, basically, i.e., supporting white supremacy. And let's not forget, this is what happens. Let's not forget, lest we should forget, that you had in Japan, you had the folks with the Trump flags, and they were protesting because they wanted white supremacy upheld because they thought that they were getting a benefit. Spirit of Chaldeans. You had Asian communities. Well, let's uphold and let's affirm, Denise Clark, shalom, white supremacy. Because why? Because we're getting a benefit. Look, it hasn't touched us. We're good. No, I'm all right. We're good. It hasn't touched us yet. So now here's verse 4. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For the Lord, or excuse me, for Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God. Now, y'all are just some black folks. Don't worry about it. Y'all just some Negroes. Don't worry about it. Y'all just this. Y'all just that. Shalom, Jennifer Bassett and Denise Clark. Shalom. Don't worry about this. We have you all on lockdown. We're gonna lock everything down again because why? Because this awakening is not this. When they're trying to quench the fire of this awakening, and there's more flames, what do you think is going to happen? And El Shalom. So let me read that again. Verse 5. For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God, of the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Look, we hadn't been forsaken. Isn't that what they always try to say? No, you all left, we all broke the covenant and we took on in there. No. See, you all subverted something. They subverted something that they shouldn't have put their hands on. Keith Williams, shalom. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken over wine, therefore the nations are mad. The nations drank the white supremacy Kool-Aid. Bruno Franklin, shalom. The nations drank the white supremacy Kool-Aid. Sheldon Robinson, thank you for the sticker. And now, therefore, the nations are mad. I know, I'm giving you all a minute. I'm giving you all a minute to understand that. Wait a second. This vanity, this thing, it wasn't about us. It was about you all. But I thought, I thought we were all in this fight together. I thought that we were all in this together. I thought that, we were all getting rich together. No, you thought wrong. You thought wrong. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. Do you understand? This is kind of that allegorical context. Babylon can't survive without the other nations. Do you understand? This is what the Most High is telling you. Babylon can't survive without the other nations feeding the system. Because why? Because it was trying to get her drunk. What do you mean get her drunk? It was trying to provide an illusion. And because here's the thing, if you get more drunk on the illusion than the people that you're trying to have drink it, then guess what? You start to fall down and you start to look crazy. And they start to see, oh man, you're drunk on your own white supremacy ideology. No, we're not rocking with that. Oh man, I got called out. They got called out, family. Oh, they figured it out. Uh-oh, they figured it out. Babylon's fallen and suddenly Babylon is fallen and destroyed. Do you understand? We already knew that they had really died in 2020. We saw that. I don't think people really understood. Babylon really died in 2020. It's just that the remnants are still there. It's like when you have a heart attack, well, you're grasping your chest, you're clinging for your chest, but you still have those um, faint movements. And in this case, this is a very faint movement because you got to remember, it's like they've had alcohol poisoning. You're right, Denise. They were getting high on their own supply. Yeah. And so right now you're seeing this is the grasp. These are the last straws, and those grasps are something that it's hard for them. Tracy T. Shalom. It's hard for them because they're trying to get all of this stuff. They're trying to do everything that they can. And you want to know what they're doing? Yeah, you're right. A second Exodus. Like that like that African president in the country that got Teo messed up. I have to be speaking in code with y'all. Talking about that they were good for the corona and they didn't worry about the lollipop. That one. I'm really gonna have to start putting y'all on code. See, when we were talking about being on code, you didn't really mean this was really it. This was look, you get God was giving y'all a chance to understand it. Now we really have to speak on code. Now we have to speak on code for real. I've been pretty good not saying the carotid artery. Because when you have a heart attack in that carotid artery, or when you're driving down and that Corvette is messing up. Sometimes I like to take trips to Corpus Christi. Or like the spice of wild coriander. But not that word. I say cookie. Ha ha. Ha ha. Gotcha, YouTube. Oh, in your face. uh, what you gonna do? Job me with the lollipop? Uh, oh man. So yeah. So this is what we say. So let me kind of bring this on back. We would have healed Babylon. This is 51:9. But she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. I'm telling you this, family. We're seeing this right now. We're understanding this right now. These folks are saying, nah, you know what? This is too much. I understand where I'm at. I understand how this thing goes. I understand how they see me. But I say, you know what? This is it worth the money? Here's the thing. If a lot of us had the means to leave, a lot of us would have left. Because a lot of us here, we would say, it's not worth the money. Let's be realistic. Chef Love 51. Yaz Isoleli. Shalom. Because they know that in the event that the reparations are fully paid and they don't want to give us any program and they get called on out and they're like, okay, the nations of the world are seeing this. Here's your money. Are you going to stay? Here's all your stuff. Are you going to stay? Can we count you to stick around? Can you give us a I'm going to stay pledge? You know that's what they're going to do. Can we count you in that you're going to stay with the reparations? Are you going to continue to build with the reparations? Come on, we love you. You know, they're going to say, we love you. We always loved you. Oh. The Lord hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our God. Do you understand? Listen, this judgment is the work of the Lord bringing out our righteousness. We need to understand, we have to realize this is his work. This is his plan. This is him moving. Oh man, I wish everything can get back to normal. Normal to do what? Well, you know, they weren't killing me yet. Yet is the optimal word. Yeah, and you're right. Second Exodus. There is no leader in this. These folks were so hard pressed. Who's your leader? Who's your leader? Take me to your leader. Oh, and for that petition, family, that I have on out there, sign it and share it, please. If you sign and share, I think that's key. That's key. You can't do anything until we're officially recognized. So just that's that. It's on my community tab, and I shared it on Facebook. So please, if you haven't done so already. I think look, you know, there actually has to be a legal formula to this. You just can't say, well, I want to have my stuff because, you know, I'm black and I say so. No, there's a legal formula to it. Look, the reason that they don't want to recognize you as a people is because they don't want to categorize you. And the reason that they don't want to categorize you is because once you get a category other than a byword, you know, then that's a powerful thing. And if they tell you, and if you tell them, no, this is us, then guess what that means? That means that there has to be a recognition of us. And guess what that also means? That means that they have to verify who we are. And guess what that means? Yes, you're going down you start to go down the rabbit hole, and it starts to unravel for them. And then when that happens, oh, okay, well, you know, now that you all are who you saying you are, you are the Judeans, not the Ish, Ernest Sake Shalom. Here's the Lemba. Here's all. You understand? They literally are telling on themselves today. It's like, I want to be caught. It's like those criminals that have escaped for so long, and then their conscience just takes on over, and it's like, the investigators will say, you know, when such and such had devised the plot, he stayed with the plot. He was spending and you know, at one point in time he was on top of the world. One point in time he was actually leadership, but his conscience got the best of him, and he kind of started messing up, and you know, and now the worldwide investigators realized that he was in fact an imposter. And then you'll have like Robert Stack and Unsolved Mysteries. The world realized that the black people in America that had come over through the transatlantic slave trade were in fact the people of Judah. I know that's kind of old school. This was the biggest unsolved mystery known to mankind. The world said that they could have healed Babylon. They knew Babylon. They understood Babylon. The world could have healed Babylon, but Babylon did not want to be healed. And over those grave set of errors, their world began to unravel as the truth came out. And then you see an unsolved mystery. You hear you get the witness. Yes, so you know what happened was that it's a very interesting phenomenon. It's called the imposter state phenomenon. And with that imposter state phenomenon, you know, it sucks everybody in and it just gets deep. Oh, yeah, of course. How come we didn't see it that time? Oh, man, of course. Yeah, the black guy witness. So, Jerome, tell us what you think. Man, I told y'all, man, y'all be tripping. Y'all couldn't just be y'all couldn't be killing all of us and think that you was just gonna get away with it forever. Come on now. Come on now. Who did you think you is? You know that wasn't right. Look, I was telling y'all, don't be doing all that evil, because that evil's gonna come right back to you. And there it goes. Come on now. Thank you, Jerome. Now back to you. We would have been able to heal Babylon, but they drank too much of their own Kool-Aid. y'all gonna shut the channel down when I say this. They mixed in all the packets of every Kool-Aid flavor, put in 3 pounds of sugar, and acted like it was gonna taste okay. Man, that jamming great with the raspberry, with the cherry, with the fruit punch, with the watermelon. Oh man, we gonna be all right. Oh, thank you, Humphrey Bogey. Get the Kool-Aid mixes too. Squeezing in all the juice bottles. Every single packet of Kool-Aid mix, all of it. You gonna drink this, right? No. That thing's gonna taste so funky. No. Oh man. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You can't be mixing all those concoctions of Kool-Aid. Man. Oh man. With the raisins. Wow. Man. Here you go. And we'll put it in a lollipop. Just take the lollipop. Oh man. So this is Jeremiah 51:11. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes for his devices against Babylon to destroy it. Because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. Wow. See, I don't think quite a lot of people really understand Russia and Babylon, Russia and Iran. A lot of those countries that really border Iran, those were those Central Asian Russian steppes, those Central Asian Caucasus steppes. That's on both sides of Iran. Because if you didn't know, Iran is south of the Caspian Sea. And if you know the history of Caspian, you understand what that meant. So there is a spirit there that was always present, but they would try to hinder that. No, you don't want to do that. No, you don't want to think like that. Yeah, I saw that, James Nolan, and it wasn't really the reparations and the program that we're thinking they wanted to have. It's a managed program. And if you listen to Lisa Cabrera, she was going in on that. No. For me, no, it's not. Everyone else, every other group, but us, no. My thing is you pay exactly what you owe us. And for start, any type of debt that we have or that they think we're indebted to is forgiven. Any type of loan is forgiven. And that's not even including any type of monetary money, not just a subsidy or anything else. Money, an actual tangible asset that's independent of any type of a systemic or systematic process. Thank you for the gift, Keith Williams. Hallelujah. Yeah, and student loan forgiveness, that's not reparations. It's really not. I hear you. Yeah, for repairs or for down payment. No. Here's the thing. See, we built up all these towns. And see, the thing is that the model fails. And you got to remember, the model is not just failing because they said something to the model. Guess what we're doing right now? We're speaking up against it. See, it's hard for folks to realize right now we're in the fight. We're in the fight. And see, the fight is, remember a couple of years ago, back in 2018, they tried to say, we brought up our gatekeepers, our taskmasters, our boule, and they all went up to Congress, to the system, and they said, we don't need it, we don't deserve it. And what did that do? It made it worse. The same thing is happening now. Oh, that's it? No, it's going to make it worse. And now, do you understand? Because the international community has seen this, it makes it worse. I don't know if I would take Bitcoin because here's the thing. It's all manipulated. Don't think that something is like that is on out there just to, it's a very independent system. No, it's not. Nothing's independent. Yeah, and I believe the debt clock is closer to what they owe us. And if you looked at the debt clock, if you take all the assets, I think it is like around like 2.6 quadrillion. 2.6 quadrillion. And with that per person, between 40 and 50 million people, I think the numbers were like at least $150 million a person for every Black person. So that's why you would have to really go through, do your genealogies and everything else. And, hey, it'll be if they want to go even off the 1% rule, a lot of us, I would say at the estimate, we're about 60 million. We're about 60 million strong. Because there is a lot of us that think, I get more of a benefit if I say that I'm not Black. That's all that goes. They'll quickly dig up, yeah, my grandfather was Black. I was half, I was mixed, I'm a quadroon, all the way down there. That's why you have to really set up the model that if you're 3 generations out from a Black person, or even 2 generations, basically the parent and the grandparent. And yeah, and you're right. See, it goes all the way back to Britain. And it's not just Britain. It actually goes all the way back to the Roman Catholic Church. This is why the Roman Catholic Church is scared. But if you understand it, it's Edom. Kittim. It's the embodiment. It's the embodiment. That's the Roman Catholic Church. So it's the tabernacles of Edom. Like when we start to really understand how deep this thing goes, that's what Obadiah was talking about. So when they have to do something else, they're not going to put it, oh, well, you want to know what? This is why you see these shows, now try to play up to their pagan roots and histories and ideologies because yeah, I mean, watching and waiting, it is all Europe, but for all of Europe, we have to understand that the dynamic really is the Roman Catholic Church, because the Roman Catholic Church is what um, symbolizes the excuse me, the power, the referent power of Europe. It's a referent power. And yeah, you're right, Q Miller. It's the dumb diverses that really gets them in trouble. Tracy T, thank you for the super sticker. Hallelujah. Well, yeah, no, I know, yeah, nobody wants Europe. No, no, because Europe even has to go to Africa for its resources. And this is why I told you we didn't understand that Kool-Aid of white supremacy, and people stopped drinking it. When I'm telling you, the people in other nations, they stopped drinking it. In 2018, it stopped being um, people stopped to drink. They stopped drinking the Kool-Aid. And if the Kool-Aid, the pumps were on, it wasn't on as much. You see what I'm saying? It was that they weren't getting the Kool-Aid on out as much as they could. And they were trying to. Now, believe me, they were trying to. They were trying to, pressure the African Union. They were trying to pressure all these other places. They tried to do all the little, campaign pressure campaigns, and it wasn't working. And that's where we saw that and see how the Most High was doing it. He's doing this thing in phases, because as they were all setting things on up to try to keep things together, they realized, look, they only have a certain amount of time. And I already told you, they know when we're out of here before we actually know. And so that's where a lot of us have had that understanding that, yeah, it's as time goes on, you see it now almost every day, because we're now in that time of sorrow, because the sorrow wasn't for them, it was really for us. And really for them, now it's being more prevalent. It's being more prevalent because why? Because they even know we're not in agreement with this nation anymore. Remember when I was reading the scripture yesterday? The bondsmen and the bondswomen. Well, guess what? You have to bond yourself. What? Spiritually. Remember, that was Numbers 25. We just read this. Because why? If you bond yourself spiritually, then guess what? You can bond yourself physically, and pretty soon you will be the tail and not the head. And this is where we're seeing, family, this thing has gotten bigger because the fight is here. This fight is here. That's why you said, look, let's have them bond ourselves with our God, right? They had them bond themselves with Baal Peor, that God. And see, Joy, I don't go off of that 132nd black because you already know that by that time you're not even black anymore. You already know that. You just don't have the Negroid features at all. And what does the Bible say? What does the Bible say? When are you out of the cup or when are you out of Israel? How many generations? 3 to 4, right? Well, what you're saying, that's a simple that's a simple mathematical formulation, of 2 to the 5th power, to 5 generations, and that gives you your 32. So you can't include 32 because you are really there. Humphrey Abogier, thank you for the gift. Hallelujah. Yeah, and you're right. Up next, yeah, 3 generations and you're gone. Even right now, what were we saying? What's happening in Europe when we were there? We would be in and out. Shout out to Brother Christian. He was breaking some books down. Look, we would be in and out. We'd come out a generation, but in about another generation or two, we're right back in it. We come out a generation or two, we're right back in it. And that was in our history. That's in their history books of how we would work, how we would act. Nah, I'm kind of sick of this. I'm kind of sick of that. Nah, I saw it on that side of the family. Let me just get back on into here. I don't want to have my kids having to deal with any issues. And then we're right back. Yeah, so I mean, so that's what we see, family. It's not very in depth in terms of how they would pay us. And this is a little different because you got to remember, see, this whole standard would be different because it would be this. Everything would be in the treasury. Because why? How are we going to expect to pay everybody? That's why the Most High had a system in place with Judah as a scepter to administrate things fairly, and who? And Levi to hold on to the treasury, to hold on to the stuff. You can't have one without the other. So even though we would have a scepter or a rulership, it didn't mean that we would have the wealth that we would want to have attached to it. It just means that our wealth would be handled under the Levitical priest. But the wealth couldn't be distributed all to us at the same time. That was never going to be the case. That was a scriptural form, the biblical form of checks and balances. And it's really funny because they were talking about the Moroccan and Yemen lemba. And see, when you look at all of our DNA, I see you, Sean and Leonard. When you look at all of our DNA, it goes back. It'll show we have lemba. So now, if you know that lemba is basically Judah, then now there's an issue. See, one of the tactics of fighting is to keep you asleep. That's how wars are won. People don't want to fight head on. You don't want to fight a strong opponent that can shout on out to a Elohim that's bigger than theirs, that has power. For what? For them to be destroyed? No. Yeah, and you're right, Second Exodus, because that's what most of us have. That's what most of us have. And I'm sure, because the military, they do all the DNA tests for everybody. They have that there. They have my stuff. So it's not like we're just saying this thing just to say it. Remember, we said this. You want to know what the crazy thing? This is how God operates. Because I know I'm going through this, and this is really for me. This statement I'm about to say is for me. Because I'm going kind of through the midst of some things right now. But this statement is really for me. God operates like this. You declare something, and in your declaration, he provides the manifestation of your declaration. Do you hear what I'm saying? He provides the manifestation of your declaration because spiritually something had already been triggered by the Most High himself. But he wanted you to be able to understand what it was that was being triggered. Oh man, am I the people? Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I think I am. Well, let me get some information. Well, this is interesting. Well, let me get some more information. Well, this is really interesting. Well, let me get some more information. Wow, this is very interesting. Laney D. Shalom. And you understand, see, we were first triggering something in a spiritual arena, and now it's all coming out in the physical. And it was interesting to see it on I-24 News that was the article that was on out there. Oh, all of a sudden, here comes the DNA. Well, that was, do you understand how the whole thing was? You had to find something that was categorized and measured, and they weren't measuring against it themselves. They couldn't. This is what Tudor Parfit was saying. This is what Cohen Hamadishi was saying. This is why UA they never had a shot. It was just to distract. Do you all understand what I'm saying? That's why when they say, well, we have 0.125% DNA. Okay, that was from years, generations ago, at least 30, 40 generations ago. But that would make sense because based off of their text, based off of their history, yeah, there were some that went on up there and taught them, and they converted, and not just converted, they had some of that bloodline in them. They had some of that seed in them. So so this is the thing. So for us declaring this is something totally out of the blue. Totally out of the blue. What are you talking about? How can you declare this? Well, I don't, it doesn't really make sense to me right now, but I believe that I'm a Judean. I believe that I'm the tribe of Judah. I believe that my forefathers are Judah. I believe that we had to first understand the conditions before we could understand the other intricate parts of science. And remember, they love their science. Their science is their God. So look, I'm not disputing your God. Because do you understand? The Most High uses science, but he doesn't use science as a God. See, and then when they start to use science, and then the science proves everything that God has said, then they get mad. Then they get mad. And yes, yeah, Deuteronomy 28 triggered it. And a lot of the other things had triggered it. Reading the word, and then here's the thing. When they read the word never comes back veil or void. It never comes back void. It never fails. And now here's their science. Here comes science. And it's just confirming everything that we've already said. Okay. But you want to know what happens. It's not just the science, it's an implication of if we know that we're the people, then guess what? Somebody gains and somebody loses. Remember, we were the losers and they were the gainers. Now the reverse is happening. Now we're the gainers and now they're the losers. And see, and there's nothing that they can do to stop it. That's why they're scared. There's nothing that they can do to stop it. So we're good. See, when we said, look, this nation's getting ready to be judged, that this nation's going through judgment, then they were like, okay, that's some crazy talk, never going to happen. And then as the nation started to get judged, then they really started to go crazy. And why? Because we're making a simple declaration. We know who we are. We know that we're the people. And now this nation's going to get ready to get judged. It's a simple declaration. We didn't have to shout it. We didn't have to scream it. We didn't have to do anything else. We just said, you know what? Thank you, Father, for being God, for being our Elohim. So every lie that they taught was now unraveling, and it's still unraveling for them. Man, I know that they hate me in the mornings. Because and listen, I don't say things to offend. I don't say things to um perturb or disturb people. I don't say that. Shalom Yahia Hanasi. But this is the truth. Now, if you don't like the truth, you're gonna obviously be offended. But here's the problem. Then why are you gonna indulge in a lie? Shalom Dwayne Yonde. That's the thing. Why are you going to indulge in a lie? Well, I'm comfortable in my lie. Okay, you realize that that lie is going down. No, I don't care. That's what they're saying. I don't care. You realize that lie is going down. Hey, I don't care. Well, now you start to understand what Jeremiah 51 was talking about. We would have healed Babylon, but they didn't want to be healed. Because why? They wanted to believe their lie. Please, please just let me believe the lie. Yeah, and that's why it's all of a sudden. That's not this is why it says suddenly. Look, while you all weren't paying attention, the whole world was. See, Babylon's a system, but it's not the whole world. There are other nations rebelling out of the system of Babylon, and these nations are rebelling. You had the Medes, they rebelled. Then from the Medes, you had what? The Babylon or the Romans or the Greeks, excuse me. Yeah, from the Medes, you had the Greeks. Why? Because they rebelled. They saw something that was weakened. What do you see what do you see happening right now? The Medes are rebelling. The Asians are rebelling. The Greeks, the Europeans are rebelling. Well, we're going to be on top. Remember, that was our declaration. We said we're going to be on top. We actually said that like what, last month? And then, that was trumpeted by, by Boris Johnson in the UK. Yeah, America's back. America's back. Well, I mean, it's not back like that because, they got flack. They literally got flack. What do you mean? No, we're not dealing with that. What do you mean? So yeah, so we're seeing this family. We're seeing this family. And it's a hard sell because for us, we're just saying, look, we don't care what you're doing. We don't care what you're saying. We know who we are. We know who the Most High is, and we're going from there. Hallelujah. We're going from there. Hallelujah. And that's how that goes. That was always how it went. And yeah, they're seeing the scriptural prophecy. That's right, Dre Lee. And African ancestry good, not ancestry worship. Yeah, we're not worshiping the spirits of our no, we don't do that. Yeah, Malin, that's the thing. They've all been Confederate, and now their confederation is against them. You see what I'm saying? So now, we're not necessarily in the crosshairs. Now, yes, are we here? Oh yeah, absolutely. But we have to be out of the spiritual mist. No, because once you separate spiritually, then you can focus on what the actual power is. And that's the Most High. That's Yahuwah. Aniyabat Yah Shalom. That's Yahuwah. So I don't say, oh, you gotta fight, you gotta physically fight. No, you understand our battle. This is a great thing about the Most High. Our battle isn't fought with flesh and bone. It's fought by His Spirit. And you got to understand, when you see all these people lining up for the lollipop, you can already tell their spirit is down. Why? Because they're willing to do anything. They're willing to take anything. You understand what I'm saying, family? That just shows you it's ripe for the threshing. And He threshes. Not us. We look. All He's saying is, stand by, watch out, just wait. Look, you're in the middle of the fight. You did your job in the fight. Now watch out. Isn't that amazing, family? You're literally seeing them. They're so scared because they know their spirit is crushed. See, there's a spiritual destruction before what? A physical one. Yeah, you're right, Ms. B. Is desperation. And in their desperation, look, it's crazy, man. They're being led right to their own slaughter. You never would have thought it. You never would have thought it. Yep, there were consciousnesses here. We know that. But we also knew, look, this is how they're going to do it. Going to do it. And trust me, when the lollipop becomes mandatory, that's when they know it's over. I told you this, family. When the thing becomes mandatory, that's when you know it's over. Because as you've all have seen this, they're trying their best to have us go the way of Balaam. All the gimmicks to go the way of Balaam. Everything. Come on, come on. We need your help. We're in this together. And you say, okay, well, that if that's the case, and we're in this together, then pay my reparations. Well, we're not that in it. We're not that together. And then they give you every excuse of why they don't want to pay. That's the real sniff test. I told you that. I said, listen, if they really wanted black people to line up, if they really wanted black people to line up and get the lollipop, pay those reparations. That's it. Hey, I got a $15 million check for each black person that gets the lollipop. You know how many black folks the line would be running through the the line would literally be like miles long. And we would just camp there and we would sit there. We would have pizza delivered in the middle of the line. We would bring portable showers. You think we playing? People bring umbrellas just to take a shower underneath. Let me scrub off real quick. I'm trying not to be all funky. Just they'd have a shopping cart with some jugs of water, an umbrella. This line's gonna be long, right? How long do you think you're gonna be here? I've planned for about a week. I'm lucky I got my phone because my given my Uber Eats location, they can reach me on the GPS. Be pulling next to that line. I got an order here. Yeah, that's me. That's me. Here it is, right? Showing the phone. Gonna have those old crank chargers. Yeah, I got my phone. It stays charged. And then you're gonna have everybody streaming on Facebook Live. Yeah, I'm here. I'm about to get this lollipop because they gonna pay my reparations. Man, I've been looking at Zillow. I've been looking at this dealership right here. I tried to be the first in line because you know what's going to happen. As soon as all these black folks get their reparations, then inflation is going to skyrocket. You're going to start looking like Venezuela. Oh man, you're gonna have people, all the investors, TD Waterhouse, the investors will be coming through. Hey, you're about to get your reparations. Make sure that you put that on the card. that I'm your financial manager, your financial advisor. We can get you great rates. We can get you locked in. You have all the banks there. Bank of America. Do you already have an account with us? And of course, most black people will be like, "Nah, I don't got no account. You know, I'll be paying my bills at the Amscot or the Check and Go. You know, my stuff be on money order. I don't trust them banks." We got a great investment opportunity. As soon as you get your reparations, oh man, we're gonna get you taken care of, and then you're gonna get, and then see, that's the whole thing right there. No, all right, they will come with a scheme and a shenanigan. Oh, but you want to know what? We got to wait a few weeks. You know, we got to make sure that this is going. They would devalue that dollar so quick. As soon as as the week later, if you didn't get all that, if you weren't out and changed your dollar into gold, a week later, that 15 million is going to be like $3.50. Well, you know, they asked for reparations and they crashed the economy, but that's okay because we gave them all the lollipop. So, my fellow Americans, just calm down and let the lollipop action take its course. And we promise you we'll rid you of this curse that's plagued us since 1619. Amazing all this is going through to the one person that sponsored the 94 crime bill. Isn't that crazy? It's like, dang, not only did he want us locked out, now it's a soft genocide. It's like our people just don't get it. It's so sad. It's like they don't get it at all. We knew that they weren't going to get it. But man, the soft genocide is here. Well, we can't have the line like that because, the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers will be trying to get all the black people from out of the line. And the funny thing is, Joe's daughter, Azion Salama. The funny thing is, I guarantee you that that's what the Most High would do. Now, let me get these heathens up in here to get them away from this line because I know that's exactly what they would do. That's exactly what they would do. They would do some foolishness like this. Oh yeah, no, no, no. Second Exodus. Yeah, Trump. We were coming out of prisons. Nope, nope. That's what Biden said. He said, "I'm gonna reserve." That was the first thing he reversed. Get these Negroes back in holding. Get these Negroes back in the pen. So I'm going to tell you that, is that possible? Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I think that's why you've heard it in the circles of this is what you're hearing. This is the buildup. I'm telling you all the buildup. So don't think that I'm crazy. I'm just telling you all the buildup. Because see, when the deal goes down, it's not about the money, it's about the power. And if the money is just out of our hands for it won't even be a generation, 18, 19 months. And then those effects from the lollipop start coming through, the blood clots, with the thrombosis, the strokes, all of the issues, the death. Oh, we got the money back. Let's get it back into the states. Let's use that, and now we'll have bids, and then we're gonna have another round of wealth distribution. It's simple science, family. It's simple math. Yeah, with second Exodus, you won't be taking your money any. You could take your money, but when you have that lollipop, you gonna only see it once before you go blind. Sir, you have an advanced case of cataracts. Does cataracts run in your family? Yeah, it does. But I could see last week. What happened? Uh, Joke's on you, sucker. I'm gonna make this reservation on out of here. Wait a second. How come I can't see my fingers? How come I can't see my screen? How come I can't see my phone? You got set up. We gave everybody that blindness batch. You want to be spiritually blind? Well, welcome to being physically blind. You better play some Ray Charles, hit that road, Jack. No. Oh man. You wanted to be a sucker and you got played like one. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Nah, yeah, they're trying to go after that. I think everything here is just a setup. You already know the move. You have to have that in place before, excuse me, before you can do another situation. It's all phased in because here's the thing: we've already said we're not going to do it. And it's really the conservatives are like, we're not going to do it either. So for them, they know that we're a little bit more easier to manage. It's the conservatives, that aren't. They're not. Yeah, the new houses may be FEMA camps. So be it. Don't think that we were just going to get on out of here easily. That was never going to be the case. Yeah, exactly. No, you're right, Brew Queen Israel. That's what's going to, and that's shame. That's exactly the shame. What I was thinking. You're going to start seeing a lot of this stuff, the adverse things, in the summertime. And that's when they're going to say, well, it's that round of the cookie, and we need to do more cookies or lollipops for the cookies. We all know the setup, family. It wasn't going to be very um, complicated. No, not at all. Yeah, yeah, Ninja Firewolf. I see that happening. Yeah, that's what they're already doing. It's the fourth wave. The fourth wave is here. Now we need to do this. Now we need to do that. Yeah, family, we know. We understand. That's why, I have to speak in code words, because if not, YouTube is on this. Yeah, the autoimmune diseases. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Because that's what they're pumping themselves with in that lollipop. It is a lab made and designed, um, really medication that's going to cause those issues. So yeah, but for us, look, we're in the fight. Just remember, you are in the fight. And if you don't know that you're fighting, look, then you're just a casualty. Okay, so don't get shell shocked. Don't get shell shocked. But yeah, family, it's about time for me to wrap this on up. So I will speak to you all later. Talk to you all later. Most High willing. So with that said, family, shalom, salam, and siyemi, shalom. Peace and blessings, Israel.